Welcome everyone, my name's Jeff St Laurent and this is the Tuesday live show, and today's topic is digging for clients, the real work as I would term it. And I'm going to share with you a real life example of what happened to me over the past 2 weeks and the work I did to get a paying client yesterday, and to highlight what the real work is so you can understand what to do yourself. With that being said, I help coaches transition to a full-time business. I help you with your structure, your systems, your marketing, your process from getting leads to actually point of sale and everywhere in between, and growing and expanding on from there. I have a lot of great resources, and I do record all these shows and I put them on my website, sellingcoaching.com, in my university. Right on the homepage, if you want to check that out and enter your name and email address, that's going to give you my complimentary audio training. It's a great resource. It's called The First 3 Vital Steps of Launching Your Full-Time Coaching Business. So you can go ahead and check that out there. That's also going to put you in my email community. You'll receive emails from me on a weekly basis. Not only do I share some great information in there, but it's also going to start to help you understand how you stay in front of your audience. Everything I teach, everything I do in my programs, etc., with my one-on-one and my group mentor coaching clients, I do myself. So I know it works, and I've seen them do it, and I've seen them succeed as well. And I've been full-time since 2004. And so I'm excited to help you take your business to the next level. I do have something going on right now. If you're watching this live, we have a 14-day GoPro challenge. If you haven't heard about that yet, you definitely deserve to check it out. We're actually, day 1 is today of the next GoPro challenge if you're watching this live. Whether you're watching it live or watching the recording later on and you want to check that out, visit GoProChallenge.com. You can learn more about it and register for the next one there. So that's GoProChallenge.com. Anyways, I'm excited about today, and the topic, like I said, is digging for clients, and it's the real work in order to get those clients. And so what I want to share with you is, so yesterday I got a brand new client, a brand new shiny client, and it's exciting. And so I remember back when I started this thing in 2004, especially the first 3-4 years, especially the first year and a half or so, I didn't know what I was doing. And then I started working with a mentor coach, and over the next 2-3 years, I started understanding selling. I started understanding how I needed to take people through a process. So I started developing my own process, hybrid version of what I was learning from my mentor and other people as well. And then I've kind of, since then I began to master it. And then once I transitioned to helping coaches like yourself transition to a full-time business, that's where I began to teach it and further refine it from there. But like I said, when I was starting off, I didn't understand the process. I didn't understand the real work that was needed to be done. And so when I would, like I said yesterday, I got a brand new shiny client, excited about that. But when that happened to me, when I was starting off, anytime I would get a client, I really didn't know how I got a client. I was like, I got a client. And of course I was excited, but then I was kind of like faced with, okay, well, it's another client. Fantastic. I get paid. I get to coach. I get to do what I love, blah, blah, blah. It's fantastic. But I'm also in a business, and I need to know, like, well, where's my next client coming from, and what did I do effectively in order to get this one, and what process did I take them through to get there? Right? That's what I teach you in things like my GoPro challenge, my one-on-one, and my group mentor coaching stuff. Here, I'm going to give you some of the work that we need to get done, at least to give you an idea of what that process is, because there's a lot of marketers out there that we're exposed to as coaches that that make it feel like, and I'm not saying that they do this and they're actually saying this, but they make it feel like, oh, well, you know what, you can automate everything, and if you just make some posts or you run some ads, or you're on social media just kind of sharing and posting and doing all that stuff and commenting, you can get clients. You can kind of sit back and you'll get clients, and it just happens that way. And that's not what happens. It doesn't mean it can't happen or it won't happen. It just means, I will say this, it won't happen enough of the time, especially in the beginning when you don't have much of any of an audience to continuously support yourself and an income to provide for yourself and your financial responsibilities above and beyond. It just won't. As you grow your audience and you do the work that I'm talking about here, after years, and I'm saying years, 3, 4, 5+ years, and I'm giving you some real time frames. So it's not like, 3 months and you're going to be earning 5 figures a month. It's like, people do it, but statistically, the majority aren't. So you can say and wish and hope and want and vision board and whatever, you're going to be in the top, 1 to 3%, and maybe you will be. However, even if you are, don't take it for granted, and you still got to do the work. And those people that are, like I've got one of my mentor coaching groups this week that I've been working with for 2.5 months since the GoPro challenge that they went through. And of the 8 people that are in that groups, of the 6 people in this particular group, 4 of them are launching their own Challenger course as we speak, yesterday and today, and the other 2 are launching in early September. And it's exciting to see. And the ones that did their challenge, just like I'm launching my GoPro challenge today, the ones that they did their challenge, how they got people to sign up was by doing the work, meaning they were on the phone. Like this one woman, I got a message from her late last night, and I saw it on Messenger, and she's like, I've been up all night, all day messaging my friends, inviting people, and she's like, I think her final numbers was she got like 14 people sign up and registered, which is really good. That's really good especially when you're starting off, right? And so, but they're doing that work, and I'm going to highlight some of that today. But in order for you to, begin to grow your business and get paid consistently, you've got to really be having the digging, as I like to say. This is what I'm talking about today. So in order for me to get the business I did yesterday, my brand new shiny client, let me just highlight the work that I did 2 weeks prior to that. And so as an example, when people come into my Facebook, my Selling Coaching private Facebook group, if you want to check that out, if you're not there, my website, sellingcoaching.com, at the top of every page, there's a link you can request to join from there. But whenever anyone comes in, I send them a message, privately, and I personally send this message myself. It's not automated. After they answer a few questions, and I say, hey, listen, I saw you join. Great to have you. I'm curious how you heard about me, and tell me a little bit more at your coaching basis, where you're at, what you're looking to do, etc. And I keep up with that. It's hard responding. Not everyone responds. If everyone responded, I would never be able to keep up with it. But I'm a little bit behind now, but I keep up with that and interact with people, and I try and create conversations to see where they go from there. And at a minimum, I'm looking to connect. But from those conversations, a couple of weeks ago, just a little bit more than that, someone that had joined, again, I started that conversation with. And the conversation went back and forth for about 5 days. And because, some of it was instantaneous, I was on, they were on, and then, they would write a message and I was gone, and I would come back, and vice versa. So over the course of those 5 days, the conversation was, hey, tell me a little bit more about this. What's your position in your business? Now, for you, it's the same. It's just talking about, whatever the conversation's coming from. So if they're joining a Facebook group of yours, maybe they reached out and connected with you after something you did online, whether it was a post or an ad you're running or anything that you're doing. So any marketing that you're doing, this would require that you do some marketing and be putting something out there. So if you are posting, if you are doing, live events, meaning virtually at this point now, or eventually face-to-face, any reactions from there, conversations that can create from there, people joining a Facebook group of yours, like I said, people even liking your Facebook page or connecting with you on LinkedIn or following you on Instagram, so it doesn't matter how it happens, but it's like, say, hey, I saw you followed me. Hey, I saw you connected with me on LinkedIn. Hey, I noticed you like my whatever, even if they don't make a comment. Like, that's where this stuff comes from. So I'm just saying right here, it came from person joining my Facebook group, but this could happen from anywhere, as I'm trying to show you. And I started to learn more about this person's business and where they're at, just like you would start to learn more about maybe where they're at in their world, or based on the topic of the video you shared, or the piece of content you posted on whatever platform, that they commented on or liked. You can take the conversation from there. But for me, obviously, I found out a little bit more about this person's business, what they're at, what they were doing, what their challenges were. And I was just, as I'm going through this, what my mindset is I'm starting to understand who this person is. I'm trying to make a connection with them and seeing where they go, see how participatory they are, and how much they're sharing when I ask them questions. And it doesn't necessarily have to lead to me getting a paying client or signing up for my GoPro challenge or anything like that. But of course, that's what I do, and I can help people. And I also want you to remember, like, you're in business, you're selling something. Like, I'm selling something. Like, I have my one-on-one on my group mentor coaching. I've got my 14-day GoPro challenge, right? I've also got a lot of great complimentary stuff. And that's designed to give you, to help you understand what I do and start to help you enough to the point where at some point when the timing's right, I want you to hire me. I want you to go through my challenge. I want you to, do a group of mine, like I want you to work with me because that's how I can really start to help you. Hopefully I give a lot of value and stuff like this that's free, and you can start to utilize some of this stuff, but there's nothing like when we're working, whether it's a group or one-on-one, as you go through a challenge, like, and I'm answering your questions and applying it all to you, or if I'm working with you specifically on, hey, Jeff, I've got this lead and here's what they said, how do I approach it from there? Like, that's the stuff I do with my clients, right? So you're selling something. You need to understand that, and you want people to buy from you. And so nurture those relationships. But as I start to take this conversation forward, I wasn't pushing anything. I was honoring and holding the space for where they're at. But what I'm looking for is there an opportunity where I start to understand it, if this person is needing some help with their business at this point. For you, it would be with whatever you're helping people with, even if it's general. And is there an opportunity where they have a need for something you can help them with? And how might the timing be right for that? And once I start to get to that point, that's when I approach. And it's kind of like the space where, like I say, it's digging for clients. You could say hunting. You could use any adjective that you'd like. You're fishing, you're whatever, right? But whatever works for you, I call it digging because it's work. It's work. And it's not like, oh my God, this is exhausting. When is this client gonna, when is this person gonna give me something where I can ask them if they want to hire me? It's not like painful work, but it's work in the sense where I'm not just like, putting something out there and just sitting back going, all right, I'm just gonna hang out by the pool until someone, says they want to hire me or reaches out to me. Like, that's not the work. The work is actively creating those conversations and recognizing the vast majority of those conversations don't go anywhere in terms of people, let's say, don't reply to you. But then there's another, large percent of the population where they don't lead to paying business. What it leads to is building a strong relationship. That's what I'm going for, right? If I can build a strong relationship with you and I can get to know you, you can get to know me a little bit. You can get to know the fact that I actually care and that I'm there and I'm available. I'm approachable. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want to come across to people. I want people to know that I'm doing the work. That's why I said at the beginning of the show, I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work that I'm teaching you, and I've been doing the work since 2004, and learning it, and then now teaching it, as well. So like that's the space that I want to be in. So at a minimum, you're building relationships, and then a small percentage of those are the ones that maybe it turns into something now. But that's why it's important as we develop those relationships. That's why we want to get those people into our email list. We want to get them into, at least, like I said, join my Facebook group as an example. We've got to have a circle of communication to stay in front of those people. Remember I said at the beginning of the show, go to sellingcoaching.com. I've got a lot of great resources. And I said, if you start off, enter your name and email on the homepage, it's not only going to get you that resource, but it's going to put you in my email community so I can communicate with you and stay top of mind. That's going to be important because I also know that because the vast majority of people, the timing isn't right today, it might be right tomorrow or the next day or a year from now or 5 years from now. And I want to make sure that I'm in front of you because I want to be the person that you hire. I don't want you to go somewhere else or buy another resource because I believe in what I do and I know I can help you. And that's the confidence that I want you to start to develop is I don't want someone going somewhere else or some other person. Of course, if it's a better fit and blah, 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 of course. But the point is I want to be that guy. I want to be that person for you. I want you to take my 14-day GoPro challenge. Because guess what? If I'm not in front of you promoting that, guess what's going to happen? The timing's going to be right, and another jamoke's going to come in. I don't know what that word even means, jamoke. It's like my parents use that word. But another jamoke's going to come in and throw a course in front of you or a blah, blah, blah. And they're going to sell it and you're going to buy from them. And you know what? I don't trust them. I don't trust that they deliver what I can deliver for you. That's why I want to be in front of you. That's the mindset that I want you to have. So I'm having this conversation with this person, and I'm getting to this point and I'm like, man, I could so help this person. And here's where what I did was I made an approach. I asked this person based on what they were going through and what I saw if they'd ever would consider or have considered taking a closer look or how they could benefit if they were to hire me as their mentor coach. That's my approach. And I've got to have something to go off of. You can't just go off of that with nothing. And so as I'm having this conversation, and I'm building this relationship, I'm finding a space where, is there a space where I can actually legitimately approach that person and feel confident in that approach, based on what I might be able to help them with. And I've got to be able to see that. I've got to be able to see where I can help them. And that's kind of like my key is for myself in terms of how I create some approaches and ask for business is I got to get to a point where I can start to truly see and understand that person a little bit, where I'm like, ooh, I can see that they might need some accountability on this, or I see that, while they're a go-getter, they're spreading themselves thin, or they get shiny object syndrome, and they're not really ever moving forward with anything, or you fill in the blank, and so when I make that approach, I don't just say, hey, based on what you told me, I wanted to ask if you would consider or have ever considered taking a closer look at how I could help you if you were to hire me as your mentor coach. And the reason why I'm asking is because this, and that's why I share something specific, because I noticed that you're having problems with this, blah, 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 and this is stuff that I do all the time. This is stuff I specifically help people with, or this is something I know I can help you with. Same thing goes for you. You got to know what your wheelhouse is, and you got to know, what their need is, and why you have a potential solution for that, and are they open to taking a look at that potential solution? And that's a simple yes or no, or like, yeah, I'd be open to taking a closer look. And then we've got to start taking them through our process. That's where if you don't start to understand the process you take them through, those are the things I start to teach you with my one-on-one group work and even my GoPro challenge. That's the point of that is to actually help you start to understand the process you take them through. What I'm going through right now is starting to create those conversations. And there's another piece I'll share when I say I'm making that approach, is I'm setting up the criteria needed in order for me to make that approach, or I would call it a needs-based approach, meaning there's got to be a need that I'm approaching them with them from in order to make it a valid approach. Otherwise, I'm just like, hey, you want to hire me? You want to hire me? I want to hire me. No reason, just because you're alive and you're a coach, or just because you're alive and I'm a life coach, I want you to hire me. That doesn't work, and it turns out people pretty quickly, and you're being the type of salesperson that you don't want to be, because people don't want to come across that way. But instinctually, that's kind of all we know, and that's why I'm teaching what I'm teaching. So I want to start you to understand I'm approaching based on that need, and that's where we begin to come from with where we're going. Is we want to, and that we got to start to dig and create those conversations. And the last piece I'll share here before I start to wrap this up is quite simply we need to make those asks. And this is the end-all thing that you've probably heard 100 times before. If not, you should have heard this before. Now you're hearing it for the first time. Is how many people you're asking. If you're not asking people for business, especially if you're not asking them like I'm sharing, then you're never going to get business, because that goes back to, all right, well, if I just throw some stuff out there, people are going to come to me and hire me and ask me to hire me. And that's not how it works. So we've got to have these conversations. We've got to dig for that business. And then at some point, we've got to ask. We've got to ask. If you want to go on a date, you've got to ask, at least if you're a guy. And if you're a female and you're not used to that, then you got to start asking, because no one's going to be asking you. And I've always gone off that premise when I started really to learn this stuff, and especially when I started to teach this stuff, I always use the superlatives of always and never, in this situation. Like, no one ever is going to just come out of the woodwork and say, I want to hire you. Now, I will say, if you do this long enough, they will, but not that frequently. But I'm giving you the mindset that they never ever will, because when you go off that premise, you don't get lazy. You don't get lazy and go, oh yeah, well, I've done a lot of work, and you know what, I should have somebody, but you don't. So always go off the premise that it's never going to happen. No one's ever just going to reach out to me and start asking about my coaching or say they want to hire me. Because honestly, what I found, even when that does happen, it's very few. There's a term out there called a lay down sale, meaning it's just like they just lie down and say like, I'm yours, like I'm ready to go. They're waving their credit card in front of you saying like, I want to hire you. It's very rare that happens. And if you treat it like that, that's the beauty of having a process, is that you're taking someone through after this, is that you never treat anyone like it's that lay down sale, or that it's just like a given. Even someone that comes to me and they're just, Jeff, I've been following you for 3 years now, love your stuff, love what you're doing, love your energy, fill in the blank. They couldn't, they're like, I'm your biggest fan ever. I've already decided I want to hire you. Let's do this. Guess what? I'm still going to take them through my process. I'm still going to take them through my process because I understand that I understand that I understand that they might not understand what I really do and the value of that. And the second you throw out your prices and you haven't taken someone through a process, then it's too late, because all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, you know what? I probably need to think about this, or, it's probably a little more. I mean, finances are kind of tight right now. And all of a sudden they start backpedaling and they go from your biggest fan and wanting to hire you to backing up because you haven't shown them the value of that. And that's the part of that process. Hopefully this has been helpful for you today and starting to understand some of that work that I'm talking about there, those conversations that are created and what we do to move them through that. And if you're looking to learn that process and start to understand it for yourself and create that structure around that, that's where I ask you, take a look at my 14-day GoPro Challenge, GoProChallenge.com. Like I said, if you're watching live, we got one starting off today, or visit GoProChallenge.com for, for a future date. Or if you're in a position right now where you're like, you know what, I need some help with this, consider hiring me as your mentor coach. And if that's something you want to take a closer look at, go to my website, sellingcoaching.com, and fill out the form at the bottom of the Work With Me page. I will follow up with you. I will give you a call, and we'll create a relaxed conversation from there.